I just think it's honestly a great opportunity to accumulate, and that's how we find those good projects. Because the projects are just hot air. We've seen them fall.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 1 of Blockcast with Simon and Will. Here is my co-host Will. We are going to have some discussions about the current markets in the crypto space and some topics of interest for us. So Will, welcome to the show, mate.
Thanks, Simon. Let's go for it.
Yeah, let's get straight into it, eh?
Yep.
So let's talk about the markets, mate. What do you think the market's been doing? How's it going, and how are you feeling about it?
I think I want to say I think everyone wants to say that it's going pretty badly. We're talking about traditional markets and the blockchain, and DeFi as well. So we see the prices go down, inflation rates. The States recently released a report of the inflation rate. I think it was yesterday, and was at 10%. Was it?
Yeah, 9.1%. Yeah.
Yeah. So the way I see it is that it's just part of the natural cycle. If the market goes up, it's going to go down, and we've been due for this for a long time, and here we are. Whereas some people might look at it in a negative light, I just think it's honestly a great opportunity to accumulate, and that's how we find those good projects. Because the projects are just hot air. We've seen them fall. You could name a couple of the figuratives just like that. So I think I see the market as a great place in that it's cleaning itself up. It's letting go of everything, like all the bad projects, and what we're left with is the great projects. And it's a great opportunity for us who are expecting this.
Yeah, and I agree. And I found it quite interesting that the 9.1% inflation rate that everyone was worried about coming out of the US, the markets didn't react that badly, I don't think. They didn't react that much at all. It could have just been the general noise. So to me, that kind of indicates that the market, I guess, is kind of, it's done all its panic flushing. We've been, I guess, crabbing for a while, just going sideways with not a huge amount of up and down for a little while. And I think the market it's in an apathy kind of stage, I guess, where everyone's kind of bored and sorry and sad about it. But hopefully, like the contagions of 3 Arrows Capital and your Celsius networks and Voyagers and all that, hopefully that kind of contagion effort is behind us. But even during that period, the market still stayed fairly crab-like. So I think we found a nice little accumulation area where we might sit in for quite a long time. And who knows how long. And we could still definitely have some, big pushes down at some point. You never know what's going to come around the corner. But I think, the case is the market is bored. The market is much slower, but I think it's now a case of, the people who really want to be here are still here, and all the pretenders are gone. And so I think it's a very interesting time to be building and looking to new things in the market, because we're really going to see who's got the ability and the commitment, and possibly even, especially for protocols, the money behind them to actually keep going right now.
The way I like to see it is I like to see the market, especially the crypto market, as a kind of a space where you have, I like to think of it as evolution, and so it's almost like an ecosystem with all of these critters or apps, ecosystems and things going on. And then when we get bear markets, it's almost like you get that like asteroid event that comes in every now and then. And I actually think it's a good thing. So what it does is it introduces stress into the environment, and then it pretty much just shakes everything up. And then it's the good things, the interesting projects, the strong ones that stay on. And then you rinse and repeat. So that happens and then the market recovers, and then everyone is excited again, heaps of new different projects come in, and then you get the asteroid will always come, like it's always coming, you know. And so it's up to projects to design themselves in a way that like they can weather all of these things. Take what is it? US. What is the dollar peg that crashed recently? Luna, right?
Luna, yeah.
Yeah. So I would imagine that would never have hit it really in a bull market, like at the peak of the bull, you know. But now that we're in a bear, confidence in everything has been shaken. You know, everyone saw the peg just drop a little bit. There's a little bit of fear in there, and then that exposed the weakness in Luna that was always there from the start. But this was the perfect conditions for it, and now we know better. You know, now we know better as creators and investors. You know, do not invest in projects without due diligence, and be really careful of algorithmic stablecoins. You know, it's a holy grail of stablecoins, but I don't know if we'll ever get there. I've got some favorite projects that are trying that, but you know,
there's been a lot of failures in the algorithmic stablecoins, and definitely no bigger than Luna. I think the difference between this bear market and the last bear market was the last time, you know, we really only had a few applications out there. It was literally just people trying to be money. So there's Bitcoin, there's Litecoin, Dogecoin was around back then, and then you had the Bitcoin forks, Bitcoin Cash, all those, and Ethereum. There was nothing else there, and so there was only that one real use case of money, and then Ethereum trying to be the smart contracts. So it was there just before. Then there was a few, you know, Ethereum killers got created in the bull market then. And then, you know, they all kind of died off. Whereas this time round, we've got a lot of really good use cases out there. You know, DeFi, obviously massive one of them. NFTs, another massive one of them. But just underneath those two categories, tons and tons of protocols that are out there making money as well. So last time we didn't have that. Last time there wasn't a whole bunch of things making money. There was lots of dreams and promises. But this time round, we've got a core layer of already successful projects that came into the bear market last time. We're building, you know, thrive through a bull market, and they're still there, still making money now. So I think it's different this time in that there's some real world applications in use now. So it'd be interesting to see what comes out the other side of this, because there's still going to be, you know, innovation of new things, but, you know, we're going to see some real, I guess, pillars of the crypto space stand up to say, hey, look, we've survived 2 bear markets. We're still here. We're still making money. And I think that's going to be, you know, a real sign of maturity for the market, when it's not just Bitcoin and Ethereum. There are now a bunch of other things that are actually worthwhile, you know, long term.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. You definitely want to. I mean, if I had to put my money somewhere, and instead making money, but not only making money, but these projects are holding a whole bunch of money. I mean, you're talking, I mean, we're in the billions of dollars with all of these DeFi projects, you know, Aave, and all of them holding all of this money that is not theirs, and it's just all entrusted to a smart contract. So yeah, if the economics were done right, and like you said, if these projects have gone through several bear markets and survived, you know, that's like a big mark of confidence. You know, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, and we're going to learn. You know, we know we didn't need, you know, 100 different, you know, automatic market makers. You know, we just didn't need that, but that's what was getting created, and, you know, people were just chasing up the next big thing. And so the big pillars are there. You know, like you can never see the Uniswap going. You know, that's just, it really seems unfathomable to see Uniswap ever actually disappear from the radar, even though they kind of were first movers. They weren't really the first one to do it, but I guess they were the one to take it really mainstream. But yeah, it's hard to see a world without them. So maybe that does become, you know, another blue chip. You know, people talk about blue chips as only being Bitcoin and Ethereum, but I think coming out of this bear market, there'll probably be another 5, you know, coins or tokens or whatever to add to that blue chip list, I think, going forward.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And they're all starting to duplicate themselves. You know, Aave, we all know Aave, but then you have all of these little other lending protocols, and these are the small blockchains with their own call it a unique value proposition, but really it's a lending protocol. Like there's no difference. And assuming it's done right, it's exactly the same as Aave. And yeah, it does make you wonder, you know, at what point do we say that's enough? Like, do we really need another protocol? Do we need another lending protocol? Do we need another decentralized exchange? But then maybe another way of looking at it is that it also creates redundancy. So yeah, redundancy and choice, and I guess competition between these protocols. But they are starting to get pretty prolific. You know?
I think there's always going to be some competition. So there's never going to be just the one. You know, to take that in any industry, there's always a few. Like you might get some big behemoths to take over the huge chunk of the market. With all of these other ones. But I guess the thing that I can see going forward is that you do have a smaller project with a unique point of difference. I can't see why the larger guys wouldn't just swallow that up and take that, take that idea and put it within theirs, because liquidity talks. And so, if you've got the big bags and someone else comes with a really good idea, well, you're just going to copy that idea as well. I think that the big guys will just eat everyone else's lunches. And I think it's going to be hard. You have to have a real point of difference, something that's unique that the others can't replicate easily, which is hard to block space because it's all open source. Okay, it's pretty easy to replicate it because they've shown you how they've done it.
Exactly.
So it's interesting going forward.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get on to one of the topics that I want to pick your brain on tonight, Will. Because I am not a coding person. I don't have that technical background. But recently we've heard that Solana have gone out and purchased their own phone company. So I want to get your opinion on why does a software protocol care or need to have its own phone? Why do they need the hardware element of it? And what is it that Apple or Google aren't providing with their, well, not Google and their hardware, but what are those current existing hardwares not providing that Solana want?
That's a really good point, actually. So I think they sold it as three components. One was the hardware part, which was just, I guess you could call it like a ledger in a phone. It's just, I guess, a chip that's sort of really well segmented off of the rest of the system. So that was the first part of their presentation. And then the second one was their software stack. And then the third one, which I actually liked the most, was a dApp store. So to be honest with you, I couldn't say that the hardware makes a massive difference. So obviously, I think we can all agree that hardware wallets are the most secure, but I do not particularly see the advantage of storing it, having that in a phone. Like phones are generally really secure. So not everyone has hardware wallets. Some people store it on paper wallets, some store it on their laptops, which is a terrible idea. And then phones actually do have pretty good security, Android and iPhone, as long as your phone isn't rooted. So, and I actually did see them in a meeting, and they said that the key component of what they were introducing really wasn't so much the hardware. The hardware is great. Great, you've got a ledger in your phone. The thing that was more interesting was the SDK, which makes it way easier for any coder to interact with it. So I think the thing that excites me most about their phone really isn't the phone, it's just the SDK and the dApp store. And I think the dApp store is super important in that I think we need a decentralized place where apps can sit that Android and iOS users can access. The problem is that we all know that Android and iOS are gatekeepers. So, they dictate what app I can have on my phone. They've got a great system, but really, I would really like free. I'd like the choice of what I can install on my phone. And mind you, I guess I would bear responsibility. But as long as the phone, honestly, isn't rooted, you could install anything and you'll probably be fine. You really have to work hard to mess things up on your phone, I think.
So I kind of get that concept of it, but I guess, you know, their phone also has to actually be a really good phone then as well, because they're, you know, people use their phones for many other things other than just blockchain. So people aren't just going to go get a phone just because it works well with blockchain if it can't do all the other things really well. So are they going to fall on their feet when they sit there and going, well, hang on, nobody actually wanted this in the first place because it doesn't do all the things a phone does?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then the other thing is that, so the way they pitched it was as if as if regular phones can't run dApps. But the truth is that they've been doing it since I think 2018. In fact, the first dApp, I forget what it was, but it was a wallet and a chat app on Ethereum. I can't remember the name. I'm not even sure if it's still in existence, but I could run it off of my Android in 2018. Yeah, like you actually do have heaps of different projects with SDKs that let you connect like that really quickly. Take the Kin ecosystem. Their SDK runs on Solana. As a developer, you could hook it up to web, Android, iOS in all of 20 minutes. You'd be sending crypto, you know. Mind you, it wouldn't be a dApp, it would be a phone. It would be an app running on, you know, from the App Store. You know, the phones trade crypto all the time. You've got your crypto wallets. So from the user's point of view, it's like, what's the difference? I could trade crypto with my old phone. Why am I paying $1,000 for this one? The camera isn't that great. But I do want to applaud them for pushing along that direction. If it, you know, I hope we'll get to a point in time where we've all got hardware wallets on our phones. But until then, you know, I'm pretty happy with my ledger.
It sounds to me that what you're basically saying is Solana had too much money and they went and, you know, bought a promise to make people feel good about the crypto environment rather than something that people might use. Anyway, we'll wait and see. Maybe they'll come up with it, but I'm pretty sure that they're not the first people to talk about this or even buy a company before. Let's give them a chance to try and find out.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, I love innovation. I'm glad they did it. I can't exactly see the end point. Maybe they're driving towards something, but yeah, I guess let's see how it goes.
Maybe they want to take on Apple. Who knows? Maybe they sit there and go, let's take on the big boy. Maybe. Yeah. All right, cool. Right, let's go on to our next topic, which I want to talk about today, is that we've obviously seen the demise of Cefi, in my opinion, or the fallacies of Cefi this bear market, with Celsius Network, 3 Hours Capital, Voyager, all going bankrupt. Celsius just announced their bankruptcy the other day, which I think was, everyone knew that was coming. Compared to DeFi, whereas a lot of narrative going around that people say that Cefi failed, DeFi, you know, survived, thrived even. And my opinion is that I think they're right. I think they're right that DeFi did do as it was supposed to. DeFi protected its lenders. Cefi did not protect its lenders. And DeFi did that through, you know, its automated system of liquidating people who had, you know, borrowed too much and they become under collateralized. I also think, though, that Cefi could and should work if it wasn't the human in the way that was greedy, because DeFi is over collateralized. We've got to remember the rest of the traditional finance world is not over collateralized. So DeFi survived because of that. So it worked, but it's not working as good as, I guess, traditional finance need, or maybe even the real world need in their chase for need to chase for yield, I think, is probably what I think. Whereas Cefi was showing huge yields. You didn't know what they were doing with it. It was trust us, not trust the blockchain. It was trust us. Yeah. So DeFi worked, but DeFi still wasn't at that under collateralized point, and that might have been a different testing point for it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. So I do agree with you that like Cefi, we've seen a whole bunch of Cefi projects get hit. So, and you know, that's sad. So it's a bunch of people trying to do business. Maybe they were honest, maybe they just made a mistake. You know, but the truth of the matter is, it crashed. Like those companies all went underwater. And then we've got And then to also be fair, like we've had DeFi projects collapse as well. So there's Luna, that was all smart contracts doing pretty much exactly what they're supposed to do. So really, anyone who was looking at it could have seen that it was going to happen.
But there might be the argument for Luna that it worked exactly how it was supposed to. So everybody knew this was a possibility. Anyone who knew enough about it knew this was a real possibility. Whereas I don't think for Celsius Network, I don't think people really knew it was a possibility. They were trusting them a little bit too much. Whereas Luna was slightly different. But you're right, it still failed.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. But then I was going to say the good thing with DeFi is that we can all peer into the smart contract and we can see exactly what it's going to do. We don't even have to look at the smart contract. We can look at the contract itself, and then we can see exactly how much money is in there. We can also see exactly how much has been loaned. So we can see all these things. And granted that they also, I mean, they could also fail. Like you're never at 100% certainty. So we all know that the first DAO in Ethereum, crashed or rather was hacked, leading to Ethereum Classic and Ethereum, I don't know, original. Yeah, really, yeah. So it's funny that we're all on the Ethereum fork. But yeah, so the good thing with DeFi, I think, is that we don't have to trust it because we can actually just verify ourselves. We don't have to trust it if we can look under the hood and just verify everything. Whereas the problem with anything that is Cefi in the blockchain space and Cefi in the traditional space, and that includes all of those companies that have gone down. Enron, I think, was a big one. Banks going down and getting bailed out all the time. And it's not until the point that they announce their bankruptcy that everybody goes, what the hell? Like, I had my money in there. Yeah. And the day before it's all everything's honky-dory, don't worry about it. And then meanwhile, here's my bankruptcy filings, and there's the CEO getting his golden parachute. So I'd say going forward, like I would have my confidence more in a smart contract like we were talking about before that has gone through bear markets, has been battle tested. Like I think that's where I probably put a lot of my money. And then we're also talking about diversification. Like we have all of these DeFi products that do the same thing. So maybe that's a great point that they're there. So let's say I've got a lot of money and I don't want to put trust everything into one smart contract. Well, I've got 10 projects that have been battle tested, and I can split them all up. And hopefully they'll all stay up, but it's very unlikely that all of them will go down.
I think it comes back to a degree people's level of education in the space as well, because the reason why Celsius was looking so good for everyone was just simply that people didn't know how to interact with DeFi, but they could understand the concept of depositing money into Celsius, effectively a crypto bank. People understood, I send money here, deposit it here, and you earn me yield. Whereas it's a big step change in education and knowledge to know how to start interacting with the blockchain, how to start, using your ledgers and things like that, MetaMasks. So that's, I think, that the key thing is that, it was easy for people and they're offering amazing rates. So everyone went crazy for it and they, forgot about the risks involved. So I think maybe this time round, all the people who lost money and all these things are probably going to say, no, I need to upgrade my learning.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And then it also brings us back to the UI, which I think is terrible, but is improving. Yeah, interfaces like have come a long way, but they're still not great. Sometimes, sometimes I want to play around with some projects, and I don't even understand the terms. Like sometimes it's derivatives on derivatives on derivatives, and I go like, I think I'm a smart guy, but I can't tell if this is genuine or if it's a scam. But then you've got simpler projects like Aave, which are really simple. Just put your money in this vault, and you're fine. But I totally agree with you that like we do need to get educated. I think the public in general need to sharpen their skills if they're going to put anything substantial anywhere. They really need to do their research. And the way I do it is I try and find people who are smarter than me, but the problem is it's kind of hard to tell uh, between bravado and smarts. So because you get all these people on YouTube and they go, like this is the next best project. So that's always a challenge. But I think for the regular user, if we can find somebody who we recognize, they kind of like recognize the space. So we know Vitalik, there's heaps of names out there that we know they're trusted, and we know that they're projects that they like. So that's one signal that I use out of many signals. Yeah, but in the end, it's all about doing your own research and all of that, and hopefully these interfaces will get better. But
yeah, it takes time, and we're all learning, and we're all trying to get better at it. So I think that's part of what having these discussions is about, isn't it, mate? To make sure we can upgrade our skills and help other people upgrade their skills.
Yeah, that's it.
All righty. Well, Will, I think we are done for our first episode, mate. So thanks very much for being on the journey with me. It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks, Simon. I think this is going to be great, and that was a lot of fun. Looking forward to the next one.
All right, mate. See you, everyone.
All right.